Texas.
I could see my breath inside the house, which was kind of crazy.
The pre-dawn temperature here in Dallas was near zero, and nearly 4 million homes and businesses around the state have no power. Outside Wilmington, North Carolina, some people have no homes.
I understand there's 5 houses, 4 of them collapsed, one of them's disappeared, and there's also missing people.
Audio captured by Broadcastify hints at the damage done by a suspected tornado in Brunswick County, North Carolina. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
It's believed at least 3 people were killed in that twister. If the weather holds, President Biden will travel to Wisconsin tonight for his first trip as president.
Milwaukee's Pabst Theater hasn't seen a live event since last March when the pandemic closed it. It's reopening for President Biden, who's holding a live CNN town hall where he'll take questions from Republicans, Democrats, and independent voters on his COVID and economic relief plans. The goal? Put more pressure on congressional Republicans to support bills that he may be able to pass without them. Andy Field, ABC News, Washington.
A lot of COVID vaccine sites have been closed because of the weather. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez says some shots are being doled out as concern grows about more contagious mutations of the virus.
British scientists say the UK variant identified in 41 states is likely more deadly. And the South African variant, found now in at least 8 states, appears to chip away at the effectiveness of vaccines. And researchers are now tracking 7 new variants originating here in the U.S. to see if they're more contagious.
Los Angeles County announcing it's reached the California threshold for reopening elementary schools for in-person learning, but only if schools have submitted their safety plans. The son of a suburban New York teacher who died of COVID is demanding answers. Karen Johnson's family says she was denied the chance to work remotely even after her doctor said she should be allowed to teach from home. You're listening to ABC News.
The IRS doesn't mess around. If they want your money, they'll take it. They can take your paycheck and bank accounts too, even threaten your home or business. Don't take on the IRS alone. If you owe back taxes, the smartest thing you can do is call Optima Tax Relief. The experts at Optima specialize in a powerful IRS tax assistance program called the Fresh Start Initiative. And their clients that qualify are saving thousands, even tens of thousands. One call starts the process to stop the demand letters, stop aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS from targeting you. But don't delay. It's important to act now while you still have options. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima has already resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Get your life back. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima now for your free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
A little girl left in a coma after an accident involving a former coach in the Kansas City Chiefs has woken up. ABC's Kent Martin has the story.
A message posted on an online fundraising page was short, but it said what family and friends of 5-year-old Ariel had been waiting to hear since she fell into a coma during a crash February 4th. Ariel is awake. Ariel was hurt in a traffic accident involving Britt Reed, son of head football coach for the Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid, and the team's outside linebackers coach. Reid, who told officers he had been drinking before the crash, is no longer employed by the club. Kent Martin, ABC News.
Football fans are remembering former NFL star Vincent Jackson after his body was found in a Florida hotel room. He played for the Chargers and the Bucks. Tampa Bay fan Larry Gasparino says
he would stay at the training camp practice and sign every little kid's autograph that was waiting in line. He wouldn't leave. He was such a great guy.
Jackson retired in 2016. So far, investigators say there's no sign of trauma. More protests across Myanmar against the military coup, including Buddhist monks demonstrating in front of the UN office in the city of Yangon. And ousted leader Aung San Suu Kyi is now facing new charges that could be connected to COVID restriction violations. The new charges allow her to be held indefinitely without a trial. Going up for auction, a handwritten job application from Apple founder Steve Jobs. He filled it out in 1973, touting his experience with computers and calculators. This is ABC News.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but thought it would be too difficult? Then try Babbel. Babbel starts by teaching you words and phrases that gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations. So in 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking a new language in a few weeks. Babbel is built around real life. It teaches you practical conversations that you will actually use. Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free. Just text TRY to 64,000 to start learning a new language today. That's TRY to 64,000.
I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
You know, folks are saying once you've used a Massey Ferguson, you won't ever want another tractor. They're tough, versatile, and dependable. And now with the change of season special at NC Tractor and Farm Supply, you'll be wise to get your special deal. Our tractors have been running in families for generations. Ask about the Phil Sheehan Fall Special going on right now. NC Tractor, 299 Railroad Avenue, Rutherfordton. Call 288-0395.
We are going to see clouds gradually break apart and patchy fog move out. Look for highs by this afternoon to head into the upper 40s and mid-50s, and we're finally likely to see sunshine move through. Overnight will be clear. Temperatures will fall into the mid-20s. Highs tomorrow will be in the low to mid-40s. We do have another round of rain moving in for Thursday. Icy conditions will be possible north of I-85. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
Thank you, Peter. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this terrific Tuesday morning. It is cloudy, been raining this morning, and it's going to be clearing off sometime this afternoon. Right now, we're starting our morning at 40 degrees. We had 39 up to 40 and climbing to 48 for our daytime high, but that wind gusting today, 17 miles per hour, is going to make it feel a whole lot cooler than that. Tonight, we're dropping back to 26. Now, the bright side to this weather forecast is the weekend. Sunny skies, no rain for Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, actually Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but cool weather. Wind will be gusting on Saturday to 13 miles per hour. The temperature is only 47, so that'll make it feel a whole lot cooler. And then Saturday night drops back down to 25. On Sunday, mostly sunny with highs around 52, and dropping back to 34 Sunday night. Weekend, no rain, but breezy and cool, but we got to get through the clouds for the next couple of days, and we'll enjoy all of that warmth when it comes to us in June or July, I guess. Glad to have you join us for the Wake Up Call, hour number 2. Right now we have these death announcements. Leslie Robertson Rachel, 68, of Bostic, died Sunday, February the 14th. Those arrangements are incomplete and will be announced by Washburn and Dorsey Funeral and Cremation Service for Leslie Robertson Welchel. Beverly Ann Morrow Gordon, 78, of Forest City, died Saturday, February 13th, at Rutherford Regional Medical Center. Funeral services will be held 2 p.m. today in the Paget and King Chapel. Burial will follow in the Morrow Curve Cemetery, Forest City. The family will be at the home of her son on Robin Lane in Ellenboro. The Paget and King Mortuary and Crematory is serving the family of Beverly Ann Morrow Gordon. James Jimmy Weldon Whiteside, age 69, of Caroline, passed away Thursday, January the 28th, at Rutherford Regional Medical Center. A memorial graveside service will be conducted Saturday, February the 20th, at 2 o'clock at Calvary Baptist Church Cemetery. Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Services has been entrusted with those arrangements for James Jimmy Weldon Whiteside. Robert Lee Hayes, age 78, of Rutherford County, passed away at his home on February 13th. All services will be private, and online condolences may be made at crowmortuary.com for Robert Lee Hayes of Rutherford County. Susan Kathy Dobbins, 65, of Spindale, passed away Wednesday, February the 10th, at Hospice of the Carolina Foothills. Graveside services will be held 3 p.m. Sunday, February the 21st, at Eternal Hills Memorial Park. It is requested that those attending wear face coverings and observe social distancing. And online condolences may be made at crowmortuary.com for Susie Kathy Dobbins of Spindale. Those are the death announcements we have in-house this morning. Complete information on these and others as they become available to us will be aired this morning at 11:35 and then again at 5:10 as part of the afternoon call-around report right here on WCAB Rutherfordton. We'll get to the phones here in just a few moments and make our calls around the county to find out just what's been happening overnight with the Sheriff's Department, 911 communication, various fire districts, and we'll get you posted. Best informed audience around here are those who tune in to 100.9 FM, 590 AM, WCAB.
In May, California Democrat Governor Gavin Newsom approved a program that gave low-income illegal immigrants in his state a $500 payout so they could deal with the coronavirus. He put $75 million in the payout fund, and the money's all gone now. So California Democrats want more. As always, they sent Governor Newsom new legislation that would give low-income immigrants a $600 payout so they can buy groceries. Only this time, something truly bizarre happened. Governor Newsom vetoed the bill. He actually said the reason that he didn't sign it is because of the impact it would have on the state's budget. Now, nobody's quite sure what that impact would be. Estimates for the grocery giveaway to immigrants range from tens of millions to hundreds of millions of dollars. But since when does that matter to Democrats? Millions, billions, trillions. I mean, no number is too much to spend when it comes to immigrants, legal or illegal. So how can Governor Newsom, a rich Democrat, talk about the cost of the state when immigrants, poor immigrants, need groceries? Where's his heart? I mean, these poor people need to eat, don't they? Rich Governor Newsom tells them to suck air. Democrat governor basically wants immigrants to starve. When did this happen? You know, if I were a liberal, which thankfully I will never be, I would say this sounds a little xenophobic to me. Folks, working your land in cold weather is hard enough, so make sure your tractor is as tough as you are. Mahindra tractors keep working in frigid temperatures. That's why Mahindra is the official tractor of tough. Whatever Mother Nature throws your way, your Mahindra tractor will keep clearing snow, pulling out tree stumps, and hauling feed for livestock. And don't forget, our good friends at Mahindra offer rugged attachments and implements to handle any job. So visit your Mahindra dealer today to save thousands of dollars on a new tractor, or choose 0% interest on select Mahindra models during the Red Tag sale. For purchases of select models now through February 28, 2021. Learn more at whymahindra.com, and may your family continue to have a safe and blessed year.
Take advantage of rock-bottom prices and test drive a Mahindra today at East Rutherford Equipment in Ellenboro, or visit eastrutherfordequipmentllc.com. That's eastrutherfordequipmentllc.com.
Being a teenager is tough.
There's the constant pressure to be liked.
Endless worrying about college.
Cyberbullying, high expectations, all the negativity.
There's no question. Being a teenager is tough. And what do North Carolina's teens do when they want to block out the noise and clear their heads?
We play!
Yeah! Research shows that teenagers who participate in high school sports have lower stress levels, more confidence, and greater self-esteem. And then there's the biggest benefit of all.
High school sports are fun.
Not just fun.
They're a lot of fun.
Encourage your teenagers to participate in a sport or activity when they go to high school. They'll stress less and smile more. And they'll be laying the foundation for a happier, healthier future.
This message presented by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the North Carolina Athletic Directors Association.
Good morning. Good morning.
WCAB Rutherfordton.
Henson Building Materials is returning to our regular days and hours to better serve the fast-growing building needs of the Forest City area. Our hours will be 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and Saturday from 8 a.m. to 12 noon. We'll still be taking safety measures, cleaning, wearing masks, and social distancing, all while our friendly and knowledgeable staff will be taking your orders on a variety of building, remodeling, and DIY projects. With the combined experience of over 50 years, Jamie Earls, Terry Dunaway, and Randy Harrell in our 10,000 square foot showroom will get you in and out, loaded and back to your project, all with the flexibility in ordering. And while you're at it, visit our Homeworks by Henson showroom with our 2 designers for all of your kitchen and bath cabinet and countertop design needs. Time to get out, get busy, and visit Henson Building Materials. Building starts here.
Prior to 1873, in addition to silver and gold coins, those 2 metals backed paper money printed by the government. A person could exchange a dollar bill for a dollar's worth of silver or gold. But in 1873, Congress passed a law for the United States to stop using silver to back paper money. When this happened, a financial panic started taking place. Obviously, the bottom fell out of the silver market. A man who was a wealthy owner of a silver mine one day found himself the owner of a worthless hole in the ground the next day. In addition, farmers or anyone who carried a heavy debt load felt this bill made for a tighter supply of money and therefore harder to pay off their debt. Congress's bill became known as the Crime of 73. With the United States going through widespread financial difficulties, it was mystically thought that going back to both silver and gold would solve all the problems. The leader of the fight to go back to silver was Congressman Richard Bland. He was so tireless in his efforts that he received the nickname Silver Dick. Finally, 5 years after the Crime of 73, on February 16, 1878, the Bland-Allison Act was passed. Although it didn't return the usage of silver to the level prior to 1873, it did require the government to resume purchasing and minting silver dollars. Unfortunately, those who found it difficult to pay off their debt prior to the Bland-Allison Act found it just as difficult afterwards. You've just heard another story from Chronicle of the Old West. I'm Dakota Livesay.
I believe the rain has stopped, at least on this end of the county right now. We should be clearing off here pretty soon and have a somewhat partly cloudy day with highs getting up to around 48 for a daytime high. Right now at 16 past 7 on this terrific Tuesday morning, let's head to the phones and find out what's been happening in the world of crime fighting. And our Sheriff Chris Francis is on the phone to give us that update. Good morning, Sheriff. How are you doing?
I'm well. I hope you are, Jim.
Doing very well, thank you. Good to talk with you.
Yes, sir.
What's been happening in your world?
Jim, the last 24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office has responded to 98 calls to service. There have been 7 arrests processed at the county jail. Currently incarcerated, we have 155. Among those arrested, Chelsea Louise Matthews, 30-year-old female of Mill Springs, was charged with failure to appear, received a $1,000 secured bond. Brian Matthew Robinson, 34-year-old male of Ruston, was charged with habitual misdemeanor assault and received a $25,000 secured bond. Braxton Kelly Atkins, 19-year-old male of Ellenboro, was charged with trafficking heroin, 3 counts probation violation, possession of Schedule 6 and drug paraphernalia, and received a $38,000 secured bond. Among our incidents, we had obtained property of false pretense on Top Avenue in Ellenboro. The victim advised that an acquaintance stated that they would clean the shotgun for the victim, but did not return it. The same was a 500 model Mossberg 12-gauge pump valued at $400. Believe that they intended on depriving her of her property in that instant. And Jim, that's what we had to report today.
Sure. What kind of update can you give us on the shooting over on Ferry Road?
Basically, deputies were called out a little after 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon to 1310 Ferry Road, lot number 2. When deputies responded, they located Christopher Fight in a vehicle there on Ferry Road. He had received a gunshot to his arm. He was transported to Cleveland Regional. They continued their investigation, found that the residence at 1310 Ferry Road, Lot 2, was the residence of Zachary Waters. It appears that Christopher Fight had showed up to that residence and was an unwanted guest, forced his way into the house, reportedly by Waters and his father, who also lives there. An altercation occurred at some point. Waters was on the ground, located the firearm, reportedly shot a warning shot, and Mr. Fight continued toward him and then shot a second time, which ceased all assault. And at that time, Mr. Fight did flee, and we located him in his vehicle. So we will be taking this information to the district attorney's office and see if the district attorney believes there was any charges needed, or if it was a case of self-defense, or if there'll be any kind of a breaking in or type charges as well, or forcible entry charges. So we'll be taking that hopefully this week. Mr. Fight was taken to Cleveland Regional and State overnight on Sunday night, and reportedly had a procedure scheduled yesterday. I've not got an update on his condition at that point, though. Jim, that's what happened on Sunday.
Well, I appreciate the update, and hopefully that'll be the last shooting we'll have the rest of the year.
I tell you, there's a lot of folks that are in different ways thinking differently, and it's very unfortunate. But it's keeping us extremely busy. I wish folks would not resort to those things. Wish Mr. Fight wouldn't have went to Mr. Waters' residence. That would have helped us all.
That would have helped everybody. That's right.
It certainly would.
Sheriff, thank you very much for keeping us posted, and you be safe out there today, and we'll see you again next time.
Thank you, and bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Sheriff Chris Francis reporting in this morning at 20 minutes now past 7.
This is Gilbert. If you owe the IRS past due taxes, don't call those toll-free national numbers. Local, affordable help is right here in Rutherford County. Stop garnishments, levies, and liens. Call Gilbert Carmona at 828-289-9300. All initial consultations are free. Call Gilbert, 828-289-9300.
McCurry Deck Motors has been providing an impressive selection of automobiles for over 50 years. At McCurry Deck, you can browse the great selection of GMC automobiles and drive away in one knowing you have gotten the best deal possible. The team at McCurry Deck Motors counts it a privilege to make you a happy and satisfied customer. Why not test drive one of the comfortable and stylish GMCs today? At GMC, we are professional grade. At McCurry Deck Motors, we're the home of GMC, Chevy, and Buick. 1740 U.S. Highway 74A, Forest City. Do business with locally owned company like McCurry Deck the next time you get ready to trade cars. 21 minutes after 7, let's check in with Amber now over at the 911 Communications Center and get a report. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, thank you. What's on the report?
In the past 24 hours, Rutherford County Sheriff's Office 911 Communications has processed 333 911 calls and administrative calls, which has consisted of 31 calls for EMS and 15 for rescue. For law enforcement, there were 98 calls for the Sheriff's Office, 79 for Forest City, 1 for Lake Lure, 50 for Rutherfordton, and 59 for Spindale. For fire calls, Bills Creek responded to a residential fire alarm. Ellenborough responded to a structure fire with Bostic, Cherry Mountain, and Forest City assisting. Ellenborough also responded to a motor vehicle accident and a vehicle fire. Forest City responded to 2 motor vehicle accidents. Hudley responded to a motor vehicle accident, and Union Mills responded to a motor vehicle accident. And that's all we have.
Thanks so much. Enjoy your day over there.
Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye.
Your car's best friend can be RS Speedy Lube Service Center. That's because RS Speedy Lube Service Center and Car Wash can keep your car or truck running clean with a regular oil change. They check the fluids and vacuum out the car and have you on your way in no time. Go next door for a radiator or transmission flush. Brakes, exhaust, CV joints, and service for big trucks and campers also available. Pull next door to the RS Speedy Automatic Car Wash and make your car happy with a clean, all under and all over car wash. It's all at RS Service Center and Car Wash on Railroad Avenue in Rutherfordton.
Ruby Taylor's reporting from the SDO, Shiloh, Danieltown, Oakland Fire District. Good morning.
Good morning.
Tell us what's been going on over there.
Well, the fire department's been quiet. And on my birthday count, I've got Greg Burgess, Terry McGill, Anita Carpenter, and Braxton Keller having birthdays today, and Mr. and Ms. Eddie Coon is having an anniversary. Hope all these people have a nice day, and the signs are in the neck today and tomorrow. Jim, that's all I got.
Thanks, Ruby. I'll see you next time.
Okay, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thinking about the departure of a loved one through death is a subject we don't like to talk about. However, pre-planning or prepaying for a funeral is a consideration and responsible thing to do. With so many options available today, it's important to speak with someone you can trust and someone who can help you find a balance between the emotional, spiritual, and financial needs of your loved ones. Crow's Mortuary and Crematory is recognized as one of the best family-run funeral homes. It's a family tradition, and they know how to care for your family. Any questions you might have, they will be happy to answer. Call Crow's Mortuary and Cremation Services at 286-2304.
Sometimes it's warmer, sometimes it's cooler, and sometimes there's a lot of activity, sometimes it's quiet. Let's check in with Gary Wilson up at the Fairfield Mountains Fire District and Bills Creek and see what conditions are like today. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning, Jim. How you doing?
Doing well. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, we're foggy quiet up here this morning, I guess. There's nothing much going on as far as calls go, but we got some fog that's rolled in the last couple of hours. Some spots out there pretty slick, so give yourself a little extra driving time.
Mm-hmm.
Had about an inch of rain overnight, and that gives us about 3 inches altogether. So it seems like it's been raining since back in the fall, but I don't think it's been quite that long. It's been a while since we've seen the sun, I know that.
Yeah, that's bad, sure.
Maybe we're going to get some today. Sitting on about 38 degrees right now this morning. No chance of any freezing stuff out there for right now, so that's good. But weather's going to change and get colder, sound like.
I bet it's going to turn winter again for sure.
And compared to the rest of the weather in the country, I guess we better be glad we got what we got, because they've had some rough weather.
Yeah, we better be thankful. There's a possibility, if folks see any, on Wednesday night, see any snow flurries in that rain, don't be surprised, because there is a possibility that there may be a mixture on Wednesday night, because that low's going to be 34 and we get a little rain coming back in. So it might be a little
on my phone it was calling for showing snow flurries and maybe freezing rain and sleet mixed together. And so winter's a long time for being over yet. We'll probably get something for one of these days.
We're not out of the dark yet. We still got some.
No, we're not.
With the weather.
That's about all we got up here this morning, Jim. Hope you have a good day.
Gary, thank you so much. You enjoy your day as well, and I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, you too.
All right, bye. 26 after the hour, 7 o'clock on this terrific Tuesday morning.
It can be a tough call when it comes time to provide a daycare service for an aging parent or a loved one. You can always depend on Rutherford Life Services for a safe facility that offers medical monitoring, nutritional meals, fun activities, and is a loving environment. Rutherford Life is licensed by the State of North Carolina Division of Aging. They will be glad to answer any questions you may have. Call them at 288-1697. Rutherford Life Services offers a trained staff of professionals who you can entrust your loved one to. Rutherford Life Services is located at 230 Fairground Road in Spindale.
Let's say hello to Bob Hodge over the Hudlow Fire District this morning. Bob, good morning.
Well, good Tuesday morning.
It certainly is. Is it getting daylight over there?
Oh, it's getting daylight. At least it's not raining this morning so far. So
yeah, that's a pleasure.
But let's see some of that sunshine maybe peep out later on.
That would be nice.
But look like we got more bad weather move in later on, so middle of the week. So have to look out for that, I reckon. But it's nothing like it is out Midwest and South, is it?
Boy, they're having a time, aren't they?
You know, it's Louisiana and down to the Gulf of Mexico. We're getting hit hard. But it is up northeast, ain't it? So,
I know it. There's not many states that is missing anything at all.
Oh, I know it there. So, but we're lucky. We just got what we got, rain. So, But Jim, up here with the fire department, it's been fairly quiet. We did get a call yesterday to assist Union Mills on a vehicle accident call. That vehicle struck a power pole on Centennial Road and knocked the line down across the road, so had to direct traffic around that. So other than that, it's been quiet with us up here, and maybe we'll have a quiet day.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so, and you enjoy your day.
You too, Jim. You take care.
Thanks, Bob. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, bye-bye.
Bob Hodge reporting out of Hudlow this morning, 7:29.
Good morning. The impact COVID-19 has had on our community has caused many changes. And some of these changes is our jobs. If your job situation is changing because of a layoff or restructuring, you may have to make several decisions. One of these decisions is what to do with your retirement plan. Let's make sure that your investment plan stays on track and doesn't derail your retirement ideas. Hi, I'm Andrew Tisdale from Rutherford, your Edward Jones financial advisor, and I would love to help you. Please give us a call at 828-287-9197. Our office is located in the Food Line Plaza in Rutherford. Edward Jones, making sense of investing and member of the SIPC. Bye.
From the Blue Room on Whiteside Road to the Cherry Mountain Fire District and home of Sue Price. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Jim. I'm doing good. Hope you are.
I am doing well. Woke up feeling good this morning, did you?
I did.
Yeah, good. Good.
So far, I had kind of a restless night, but that's okay. They come along every now and then.
Yeah, they do. They sure do.
But anyway, it sounds good that we're going to get a little sun this afternoon.
There's a possibility of that, yeah. At least no rain.
That'd be nice.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a lot of rain. Well, let's see. I didn't have any calls from the fire department, and I don't have a birthday or anniversary on my calendars. Nothing on mine and nothing on Fairview, so not anybody celebrating that I know of, but we hope anybody that's having a birthday or anniversary will have a real good day on their special day and enjoy it. And maybe they will get a little bit of sunshine for it. And I don't have any announcements. I haven't had anything come in, so it's just quiet and calm over here, and we're looking for a good day, and I hope you'll have one, Jim.
Thanks, Sue. Enjoy your day.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, just as a reminder, again, the game schedule for tonight, the game with Virginia Tech and Tar Heels was canceled due to a COVID attack on Virginia Tech team. Somebody contracted COVID, so they had to delay the game, call it off for a while. And we don't know yet about what's coming up next. But we do know there is a game scheduled for Saturday against Louisville in the afternoon. Countdown to tip-off is 4:30. But right now we're unsure about how that's going to work out. Don't know who's got it next. But right now tonight's game with Virginia Tech has been canceled due to COVID. The Louisville game is in question for Saturday also. All right, let's go get some breakfast now. Jesse, good morning.
Morning. How are you?
I'm good. You feeling good?
I am.
I don't see how you cannot feel good when you smell all that bacon and that liver mush, those eggs cooking. You have to feel good, right?
Yes. Feel hungry, too.
Yes.
Everybody come down and see me this morning. We got bacon, egg, and cheese biscuits, bologna biscuits. If you don't want it on a biscuit, we can put it on a bun or white bread or even toast. Everybody remember we have a fresh cappuccino, fresh coffee. So on this rainy, cold morning, if you want some coffee, come on down and we have some ready for you. In our meat department today, we have the boneless ribeye steaks for $9.99 a pound and the beef tenderloin fillets for $10.99 a pound. Can't beat that. So everybody come on down and see us. Our truck will be delivered tomorrow morning, so we'll have fresh produce, milk, all your needs we should have. Just remember our hours are Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. till 9 p.m., Saturday from 7 a.m. till 9 p.m., and then Sunday the deli's closed, but the store will be opening up at 11 till 6 p.m.
All righty. Sound like you got everything organized.
Yes, sir.
You have a great day over there and cook a lot of breakfast for a lot of good people. They're hungry
Yes,
this
sir.
morning. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
All righty, bye-bye.
That's Jessica reporting there out of the kitchen at the Drop-In Family Mart there in Bostic on Bostic Sunshine Highway, right across from the post office. We hope you'll go by and say hello to Jessica and maybe get you a biscuit or two or three or four or five. How hungry are you? They can supply that need. It's 7:34. We'll go next to our phone call right after we recline a little bit.
It's great to get discounts on beautiful furniture, and thanks to the Recliner Center, you can get 10% off everything in the store. 10% off lift chairs, 10% off sofas, 10% off recliners, 10% off bedding. Angela has changed her hours to suit your schedule. The Recliner Center is now open Tuesday through Friday, 9 to 4, and Saturdays, 9 to 2. And of course, you can make an appointment by calling 828-395-3562. Come by soon and pick out the recliner, sofa, or lift chair that best suits you and get 10% off your purchase. Come by and see Angela Cooper at the Recliner Center today. The Recliner Center is on Cooper's Gap Road in Rutherfordton.
Now let's head up to Tina's place in Shingle Hollow and find out if she's covering the news for us this morning. Tina, you got a handful of news?
Welcome to my place up here in Shingle Hollow. Not a whole lot of news. It's 38 degrees on the front porch. The sun is peeking over Glenda's house next door, and I love it. I love it.
Glad to hear that.
And birthdays on Tiny Knob's calendar, we have Ken Hutchins. Hope he has a great big birthday. And on Pleasant Grove, we have Mallory McCullum. And on my personal calendar, Miss Amanda Cooper and Sue Hunt. I hope all these have a great big day. It seems like it's a good day to have a birthday.
I believe it.
And fire departments, did I say neither one of them had any calls, so we're thankful for that. Everybody's safe.
All right. Sound like a good day to get up and browse around a little bit and go somewhere. Don't have to take your umbrella today. Just sort of go without an umbrella. That'd be nice.
Or even just go outside for a little while. If you don't want to go anywhere, just step outside and enjoy that cool, warm sunshine, though.
Yeah, and break into a song. How great thou art, or something like that. That'd work, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I usually listen to your radio station in the mornings, but this morning we were running a little bit behind, but it makes such a difference in our day when we get to praise the Lord while we're getting ready.
Oh, well, good. That's what I want it to be. I want it to be that time for folks to sort of reflect and have a good blessing in the morning.
Well, we do it here in Shingle Hollow. So a shout out to everybody in Shingle Hollow. Have a safe day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
I'll see you, Tina. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
That's Tina White reporting out of the Shingle Hollow Fire District this morning, and we're going up to Union Mills next.
Nobody gets a better deal than the customers of Sisk Family Ford. They have a proven record as the #1 Ford dealer in customer satisfaction in the Southeast. They continue to strive hard to keep that honor. Come on in and see for yourself. Take a look at the all-new design 2021 F-150 or reserve an all-new 2021 Bronco coming in the spring. Don't miss out on the automobile you've been wanting at the Sisk Family Ford price. Take your pick while the picking is good on Oak Street in Forest City.
And we're going up to Union Mills now. Let's find out what's happening up on the hillside there in beautiful downtown Union Mills, or uptown, or sideways, or over on the hilltop. Either way, here's Brenda Kelly. Good morning.
Good morning on this terrific Tuesday. I think it'd be up on the hill.
Up on the hilltop.
Yeah.
There used to be a song about that, wasn't it? Up on the hilltop. No, that's up on the rain. That's up on the rooftop, wasn't it?
There's one back called Rocky Top.
Rocky Top, yeah. Well, you got that too, don't you?
Yeah. Yep.
You doing all right?
I am. Hope you are.
I am indeed.
Well, that's good. Glad to hear it. Let's see. I've got 34 degrees on the front porch. I don't have but one birthday today, and that's Johnny Daddle. So we hope Johnny has a great old big day on his special day. And in ways of announcements, registered this week for the Union Mills Wilderness 5K, 10K virtual race on February the 27th, starting at 10 a.m. Deadline to sign up is February 24th. Cost is $25. T-shirt is given if signed up by February the 21st. No race day sign-ups will be taken. Call 828-429-5871 if any questions. Then we got free tutoring for grades 6 through 12 will begin on Tuesday, February the 23rd at Union Mills Learning Center. This is in partnership with Reach and Rutherford and Blue Ridge Hope. Sessions will be from 3 to 6 p.m. each week from February to May. You can register at reachingrutherford.online or by calling 828-202-3075, extension 5. Safety and social distancing will be observed at all activities. And that's all the announcements I've got. So we're looking for that sunshine. It's supposed to come out today, right?
Keep hoping for it. It's coming.
Well, I'm hoping. I hadn't seen it in so long, I forgot what it looked like.
Yeah, me too. I know what you mean.
Yeah. But I guess you better go check on Luther Sweet Thing Gilligan.
I will do it. You have a good day.
Catch you later.
Bye. That's Brenda Kelly reporting. Now we're going over to Ellenboro, get the report from Luther Gilligan on the streets of Laredo, I guess we could say. No, not quite Laredo, but we'll get to Ellenboro in just a moment.
Farm Bureau Insurance doesn't hire celebrities to push auto coverage. We think people might like to make decisions based on service and savings, not just because that guy from that show says it's a good idea. Instead of faces you know from your TV, we offer faces you know from your neighborhood, because we're headquartered in North Carolina with local agents right in your town. That's really the only thing we want to be famous for. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
In Rutherford County, please call 287-2428.
North Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Insurance of North Carolina, Inc., Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
I like that commercial from those folks. I like to talk with the people who know what they're talking about. Have you ever been convinced to buy something because an overpaid, spoiled actor or actress told you it's a good thing to do? I never have. I don't think I've ever been persuaded by an actor or an actress or a Hollywood star telling me this is the thing to do. I like the Farm Bureau folks. I like to be told by somebody who understands it, earned the right to talk about it. But then that's just me. I don't know what I'm saying, but that's just me. I don't. These overpaid athletes and overpaid actors and actresses who live in somebody else's skin most of their lives and don't even know. Anyway, I didn't mean to get started on that. Luther Gilligan, good morning.
Good morning to you two.
You doing all right?
Being alive for somebody never get to know them.
That's right. Exactly right.
You see these cartoons, man sitting in the bar and say, "My wife just doesn't understand me."
Yeah.
Well, my wife doesn't understand me, and boy, am I glad of it. She ever figures me out, she beat my eyes out.
I hear you.
But we're having a good time, man. It's not raining right now. Everything old and mildewed. But hey, it's going to come pretty weather one of these days. It's going to be hot and dry. We say, boy, sure do need some rain. It's quiet this morning. That's when I see first part, they're fairly busy yesterday. She had a chimney fire yesterday morning, then they had an accident, and they had a vehicle fire, and they had 2 medical calls. But they're quiet this morning. Everything going peaceful this morning. Not a whole lot happening. But one week after birthday day, Miss Thelma Glover, she's having a birthday today. And Robbie and Lori Downey, her assistant fire chief, they're having wedding anniversary day. Been married 30 years today. So we hope they all have a great day and enjoy their day. Jim is quiet down here. You have a great day up there. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, we'll see you then. Have a good one.
Take care now.
Right, bye-bye. Well, it's time for birthdays to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries. This is the 16th day of February. We're just about over halfway through the month now. And 16th of February might have been the date you were born on. If it is, let us celebrate with you. Call us at 287-3356. Or maybe you were married on this date, 287-3356, and we'll celebrate with you and have a big old birthday. Shout out.
Being a teenager is tough. There's the constant pressure to be liked.
Endless worrying about college.
Cyberbullying, high expectations, all the negativity.
There's no question. Being a teenager is tough. And what do North Carolina's teens do when they want to block out the noise and clear their heads?
We play!
Research shows that teenagers who participate in high school sports have lower stress levels, more confidence, and greater self-esteem. And then there's the biggest benefit of all.
High school sports are fun.
Not just fun.
They're a lot of fun.
Encourage your teenagers to participate in a sport or activity when they go to high school. They'll stress less and smile more. And they'll be laying the foundation for a happier, healthier future.
This message presented by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the North Carolina Athletic Directors Association.
WCAB, Rutherfordton.
That's really something to crow about. It's the Daylight Donuts from Granny B's in Spindale. Get yours today while they're fresh. They're good. They're delicious. It's Daylight Donuts. It's something to crow about.
Happy birthday.
Well, happy birthday wishes going out to Anita Carpenter of Danieltown. Anita turns the big 5-0 today. So, Anita, happy birthday. Congratulations on another birthday. We hope you have many, many more. And coming up in just a few moments, Keys to Confident Living, and we'll take you down memory lane with some classic oldies from our vault of treasured music. And then the 8 o'clock hours coming up in just a few.
In verses 1 to 3 of the 23rd Psalm, the psalmist refers to the Good Shepherd as He. Then a change takes place in verse 4. It is now much more personal. He is far more intimate in his relationship than he was previously. It is now, you are with me, rather than He is with me. He is not talking to someone else, but rather talking directly to God. But we also find that the psalmist has entered into a different set of circumstances. He is now going through a time of testing and difficulty that require the shepherd's presence even more. Philip Keller, in his book A Shepherd Looks at Psalm 23, says, "During my wife's illness and after her death, I could not get over the strength, the solace, and serene outlook imparted to me virtually hour after hour by the presence of God's gracious Spirit Himself. It was as if I was being repeatedly refreshed and restored despite the most desperate circumstances all around me. Unless one has actually gone through such an experience, it may seem difficult to believe. In fact, there are those who claim they could not face such a situation. But for the man or the woman who walks with God through these valleys, such real and actual refreshment is available." This is Bill Hostler with today's Key to Confident Living. Scripts for today's Key to Confident Living are now available in book form by calling toll-free 1-888-333-KEYS.
The music's on us on WCAB.
of Hurricane Harvey.
Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
Freezing cold temperatures all up and down the Midwest. There were tornadoes south of Wilmington, North Carolina as well overnight. It's believed 3 people were killed. If the weather lets him, the new president will be in the Midwest this week.
Today, the president travels to Wisconsin for a town hall event, his first chance to directly engage with Americans since taking office. On Thursday, the president travels to Michigan, where he's expected to tour a Pfizer manufacturing facility that's producing its COVID-19 vaccine. It's all part of a sales pitch to Americans and a way to put pressure on Senate Republicans who are pushing back on parts of the president's $1.9 trillion COVID relief proposal.
ABC's Karen Travers in Washington. Across the nation, the scramble goes on to find COVID vaccines. ABC's Megan Tavrizian.
The National Governors Association, headed by New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, is urging President Biden to better communicate on the vaccine process, sending a letter saying the way things are being administered and delivered has created unnecessary confusion. This comes as Cuomo himself is under fire for his handling of deaths in nursing homes after his office admitted that it delayed turning over numbers to state lawmakers.
Los Angeles County in California has given the go-ahead for in-person school to resume for elementary students. That is, if their schools have submitted COVID safety plans. This is ABC News.
Paid for by Asset Marketing Services, LLC.
Have you heard? A secret hoard of 1902 Morgan silver dollars has been found. These gorgeous 1902 O Morgans are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 500 of these coins are available. Coin experts are calling the Great Southern Treasury Hoard an incredible opportunity. Just call govmint.com at 1-800-859-1518, and you're guaranteed a mint condition 1902 Morgan silver dollar featuring the iconic O Mint mark of the New Orleans Mint. These 119-year-old coins were found in sealed bags that have been untouched since 1902. That makes these unopened bags of Morgan silver dollars extremely rare. To learn more, call 1-800-859-1518. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's bonus package, a $10 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-859-1518 now to secure your 1902 Morgan silver dollar coins before they sell out. That's 1-800-859-1518.
More legal trouble for Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny. In court today, prosecutors pushed him to be fined after being accused of defaming a World War II veteran. Earlier this month, Navalny was sentenced to more than 2 years in prison for violating his parole. Myanmar's former leader ousted in a military coup, now facing new charges that could be connected to breaking COVID restrictions. The charges could allow Aung San Suu Kyi to be held indefinitely without a trial. There is new controversy over the estate of the late Larry King. ABC's Mona Kosar-Abdi says it centers on an alleged secret will.
Larry King filed for divorce from Sean in 2019, citing irreconcilable differences, but the split was never settled before his death. The couple's marriage lasted 22 years, the longest of any of Larry King's 8 marriages. According to People magazine, just 2 months after filing for divorce, Larry King wrote a handwritten amendment to his will, removing Sean and leaving his $2 million estate to his children. According to the New York Post, Sean says she and Larry had a, quote, watertight family estate plan that they put together in 2015. She also claims someone may have influenced Larry to make the change, but doesn't know why.
And paleontologists may be working on a new theory for the extinction of the dinosaurs. New research from Harvard now suggesting it was a comet, not an asteroid, that hit the Earth and doomed the dinosaurs. They think it may have bounced off Jupiter and landed in what is now New Mexico. This is ABC News.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/work. That's ZipRecruiter.com/work.
I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Put Jesse James Railroad Express on your daily lunch list. He now has daily specials. Monday, get a hot dog with mustard, chili, and onions for 99 cents. Add slaw for 45 cents. Tuesday, the Carolina Express on a regular bun, any side, 16-ounce drink, $6.99 plus tax. Thursday, chicken salad croissant, any side with regular drink, $6.99 plus tax. Friday, 2 hot dogs anyway, bag of chips, 16-ounce drinks, $4.99 plus tax. A delicious lunch every day of the week. Only at Jesse James Railroad Express, open every day, 11 a.m. until 4. Closed Wednesday and Sunday. Call 828-447-4644 for takeout orders. Jesse James is located 531 Railroad Avenue in Rutherford. All aboard.
Finally, we are going to see breaks in the clouds for this afternoon and allow us to see sunshine, but we just have to get past a few areas of early patchy fog and clouds. Those are going to clear out quickly for today, and highs will head into the upper 40s and mid-50s. Overnight, look for temperatures in the mid-20s. Tomorrow will be slightly cooler with highs in the low to mid-40s by the afternoon. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
41 degrees and cloudy, no rain in sight for a while, at least for a day or two. Tonight mostly clear, lows around 26. We will have some gusting wind, which we will feel without a jacket on, gusting to 17 miles per hour today, 14 miles per hour tonight. Then on Wednesday, partly cloudy with light wind there altogether. Now the next tease for us is going to be Wednesday night, mostly cloudy with rain and or snow mixture. Lows around 34. That wind chill value there is low as 29. Wind gusting at 13 miles per hour. New precipitation amounts up to 1/4 of an inch possible. And then after Thursday night, rain goes away. Rain, go away, come again another day. We have sun on Friday, sun on Saturday, sun on Sunday. So we got a great looking weekend coming up for us right here in the foothills. It's Tuesday morning, and it's the 16th day of the month. Tuesday morning is Andrew Tisdale Day here in the Blue Room. He's sitting here with me right now. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Wonderful.
Good. You have a good weekend?
I did. We were in Knoxville, Tennessee watching volleyball.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, you do get involved in those sports with your family, don't you?
I do. I'm more now sitting back watching and cheering than I am anything else, but that's okay.
Well, that's
all
good.
right. It's fun times.
Good family time.
It is good family time.
Well, they'll outgrow it before you know it.
I've noticed that here in the past 2 years. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah. Time passes so fast.
One driving by himself and one driving with us, and one fixing to getting closer every day.
They're special. They really are. What you got on your mind today from Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing World?
So we are in some tax time seasons, and if there's any call that comes through our office, I would say 1 out of every 1.5 is about tax questions, like, how much did I do this, put in this, how much am I going to get taxed on this, things like that. And even though we are not certified public accountants, we are able to help you with some questions. But here's something I want everyone to think about. Should I put money in a traditional IRA, or should I put money in a Roth IRA? The main idea is this. Do you want tax break now, or do you want tax break later? If I am coming to a point and my accountant says you may want to consider putting more in a traditional IRA, what is that going to do for you? What that's going to do is going to take away the amount of taxes that you owed the government this time. So here's a rule of thumb. If you are getting taxes back, there's not much, and you want to put in an IRA, I would highly suggest a Roth IRA. Why? Because when you put it in, you're not going to get a tax break today, but it will grow tax-free, and you'll be able to take it out tax-free. If you're having to pay a lot of taxes, a traditional IRA may be your best benefit, because you will save on the taxes you owe. The investment will grow tax-free. However, you're going to be taxed when you take it out again, because Uncle Sam says, remember that break I gave you back in 2020 for putting it in. So here's the question you ask yourself. Do I want a tax break now or later? If I'm paying taxes now, I may want it now. If I'm not, and I'm getting money back, but I have money to invest, a Roth IRA would make more sense.
Good questions this time of year.
Good questions.
I'm glad you're there to answer those questions for people.
I am too.
You'll find him at 173 Railroad Avenue, Rutherford. That phone number is 287-9197, and the website is www.edwardjones.com. His email address is andrew.tisdale@edwardjones.com. Did I cover it all?
You're doing great. I still need to get you a new car. That one's...
a little worn around the edges. Isn't it?
It's almost 6 years old.
That's right, it is, isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah, I'll take a new one anytime.
Absolutely. Y'all have a great day.
Have a great week. 10 minutes after 8 o'clock, we got some stories from here and there coming up here in just a few moments, along with the Sheriff's Report.
Hello, this is John Higgins with Smith's Drugs of Forest City. We are very excited to begin offering a rapid COVID-19 test, along with the COVID-19 vaccinations when Phase 2 begins. To find out more about these opportunities here at Smith's Drugs, please check out our website at www.smithsdrugsfc.com and our Facebook page for updates when testing and vaccinations will begin. We plan to schedule appointments for testing and the vaccination through our website, which will have links from our Facebook page. If you have any questions, please call us at 828-245-4591. Thank you, and we look forward to serving you here at Smith's Drugs of Forest City.
Local news on Valentine's Day. Deputies with the Sheriff's Department in Rutherford County responded to Ferry Road, Lot 2, Mooresboro, reference to a shooting. When deputies arrived on the scene, they found Christopher Fight, 31, at the intersection of Ferry Road and Googe Creek Church Road, sitting in a truck. Fight was suffering with a gunshot wound to his arm. Fight was transported to Cleveland Regional Medical Center, where he was kept overnight. Fight had gone to the residence on Ferry Road, Lot 2, to talk to an individual when an altercation started between Zachary Waters, 20, and Fight, with Fight being shot by Waters. Detectives with the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office responded and conducted an investigation. And at this time, no charges have been filed just yet. The investigation is ongoing. Sheriff Francis will have more on that story coming up on his report here in just a few moments. Other news from here and there. If you see goats around the house, around the place, you might wonder why. Well, thanks to Rutherford Housing Partnership, those involved with Zoom online video conference calls can now make them less monotonous and more exciting while supporting a good cause. RHP has launched its Goat Zoom fundraiser to support RHP's mission of providing urgent home repairs for low-income families in Rutherford County. Mel Alif, RHP Executive Director, said if you or someone you know would like a goat to drop in on your next Zoom session, send RHP a $20 donation, the Zoom link, and the exact time you would like a goat to pop in. For 5 minutes, the meeting participants can ooh and ah and get a giggle from a baby goat that might frolic, run, eat at the camera, jump on and off RHP office furniture, and meh while you're talking or just do nothing. Alif admits that this fundraising effort is a bit unusual, but it is fun. What do goats have to do with housing? Well, absolutely nothing, he said, but goat kids are cute, and after a year of COVID-19, we can all use a little laugh, can we? The goats who will be entertaining the Zoom participants are twin baby goats named Baxter and Maple. One will make an appearance at each meeting. The goats are owned by Alif and her boyfriend and live at their home in Spartanburg County, along with the goats' parents, as well as an assortment of ducks and chickens. The mother is a milk goat. Alif was inspired to create the Goat Zoom fundraiser by some of her friends who, like many people, are working remotely and often use the Zoom platform. In these meetings, Alif said most of the participants are surprised to see a goat pop up on the camera. The people in the meetings may or may not have much interest in affordable housing. Hopefully they do. I'll expect to get to talk to at least a minute or two about that, according to RHP. To schedule a goat Zoom or to learn more, contact Rutherford Housing Partnership at 248-3431. This article contributed by the Daily Courier. Meanwhile, if you've been hearing a lot on the news about defund the police, we're not going to have any part of that around here for sure. We love our police and thank them so often about their work they're doing. Some of these liberal cities have been crying, defund the police, defund the police. Well, Minneapolis, Minnesota's push to defund police has backfired, after residents complain of slow response time and increasing crime. So Minneapolis on Friday backtracked on its original push to defund the city's police department. in the wake of the George Floyd's police custody death after residents begged the city to hire more officers, citing longer response time and increased violent crime. The city council on Friday voted unanimously to approve $6.4 million in additional funding that police had acquired. Everybody was crying, defund the police, defund the police. Well, the department says it only has 638 officers available to work, roughly 200 fewer than usual. An unprecedented number of officers quit or went on extended medical leave after Floyd's death and the unrest that followed. With new recruit classes, the city anticipates it will have 674 officers available at the end of the year, with another 28 in the hiring process. Days before the city council vote, Mayor Jacob Frey and Police Chief Bandera Arredondo promised to update the applicants' process for police recruits. So they're now recognizing that was a dumb idea. So now it's the response time for the fewer police that's left is forever. So they recognize, well, you know, we got caught up in that silly excitement, and we did what so many others we thought were doing, but they weren't all doing. Many of those were not doing it. They was just a lot of propaganda the news media was feeding us, and it was not as widespread as they would like for us to think, that everybody's getting on the bandwagon, say, hey, let's defund their police. They're cruel, they're angry, they're mean. Well, that's a bunch of wool feathers. Our police are doing a fantastic job, but so they'll learn. They'll learn. All right, let's look at some other things. What happened? As you know, if you follow the news at all, unless you've been sleeping a long time, you know the acquittal process took place over the weekend. Trump was acquitted. Will the Democrats stop their stalking? Fat chance of that. The Democrats' latest impeachment efforts against Donald Trump have failed. The former president was acquitted Saturday by the U.S. Senate on the charge that he incited the January 6th Capitol riot and insurrection, as they kept calling it. The vote was 57-43 for conviction, falling 10 votes short of the two-thirds needed for conviction. 7 Republicans joined the Democrats, and one of them happened to be from North Carolina, believe it or not. The Democrats' impeachment obsession, which started before Trump was sworn in and continues after he's left office, again comes up empty. But now that the bar for impeachment has been lowered lower than a snail's belly, who knows? Maybe they'll have better luck next year. Nancy Pelosi's not through yet. As long as she's in office, she'll do her best to chop Donald Trump below the knees. She's so afraid of him and so afraid of what he might expose with the national corruption there is in Washington. They want to get him out of there so he'll never run again, but I'm not sure they're going to be able to know how to do that. The trial was thrown in disarray Saturday morning when House Democrats, after having their cases destroyed Friday, suddenly decided they want to call witnesses. In fact, the Senate actually voted to hear witnesses. Well, until Trump's lawyers declared they'd be calling Speaker Nancy Pelosi and D.C.'s Democratic Mayor Muriel Bowser, they had to explain why they ignored warnings some people planned to attack the Capitol and why they rejected calls from President Trump and the Capitol Hill Police to have National Guard troops on hand to keep the Capitol safe. Then all of a sudden, the Senate reversed itself. You can't go off script in a show trial. So they wanted witnesses, so they agreed to it. Then Trump's lawyers decided, well, some of our witnesses we want to call will be Nancy Pelosi and the Democrat mayor of Washington, D.C. Oh, well, no, I guess we don't really need witnesses after all. So they suddenly reversed themselves. Instead, a deal was reached to put into the record a hearsay statement from Republican Representative Jamie Herrera Buehler. She says House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy told her about a conversation he had had with Trump during the riot, where Trump appeared to speak flippantly about what was going on. Please support the stream, and that's where that came from. You can find out more about that kind of news coverage by going to the stream.org, I believe it is. Well, let's see what else. The Democrats and the never-Trumpers, Republicans, are desperate to keep Trump at bay, even if it means trashing his 75 million voters in the process. Trump released a long statement after his acquittal. He's trying to be nice, I think, and polite, but he did send a message out. He's off of Twitter. They cut him down off Twitter. He said, it's a sad commentary on our times that one political party in America is given a free pass to denigrate the rule of law, defame law enforcement, cheer mobs, excuse rioters, and transform justice into a tool of political vengeance and persecute, blacklist, cancel, and suppress all people and viewpoints with whom or which they disagree. I always have and always will be a champion for the unwavering rule of law, the heroes of law enforcement, and the right of Americans to peacefully and honorably debate the issues of the day without malice and without hate. Then Trump made it clear he won't go quietly, and he will instead rage against the dying of the light. Our historic, patriotic, and beautiful movement to make America great again has only just begun. In the months ahead, I have much to share with you, and I look forward to continuing our incredible journey together to achieve America's greatness for all of our people. There has never been anything like it. So he is still fighting for the great America. 21 past 8 o'clock. The Sheriff's Report coming up in just a moment. If you need help in getting your books ready for taxes, you need IE Accounting and Tax Service.
Now, how do you spell that?
ARYEE. IE Accounting and Tax Service is more than someone who fills out forms for you. They can very likely save you money. IE Accounting and Tax Service can help set up your bookkeeping at a lower price than anybody in the USA, guaranteed. Teach QuickBooks, handle your payroll, help with tax planning and implementation to recognize full value. IE Accounting and Tax Service can help if you're in trouble with the IRS or if you're unhappy with the way your tax returns were handled last year. Make a call to IE Accounting and Tax Service today. And you know what else?
I know you spell IEARYEE.
That's right, and they are forensic specialists. They specialize in handling fraud cases. From the simplest tax form to the more complex issues, IE Accounting and Tax Service could be the best decision you could make.
And that phone number is 828-395-1777, Main Street in Spindale.
You know, there is a lot of misleading information about Medicaid eligibility. The Arledge Law Firm would like for you to know the truth. For instance, if you need a nursing home, Medicaid will take your home. That's not true. Another one is, if you transfer assets, you have to wait 60 months to qualify. Again, not true. And this big one, if you're already in a nursing home, it's too late to protect your assets. Not true, not true, not true. Call attorneys Gerald N. Willis, Kent Baldwin, or Martin Gerard at the Arledge Law Firm and get free consultation and learn the truth. It's more likely than you think that you may qualify for nursing home care and not lose everything you own. It's worth a call to Arledge Law Firm at 287-3338, located on East Court Street in Rutherfordton. Sheriff Chris Francis was on with us earlier. We recorded it for broadcast at this time. Sheriff?
In the last 24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office has responded to 98 calls to service. There have been 7 arrests processed at the county jail. Currently incarcerated, we have 155. Among those arrested, Chelsea Louise Matthews, 30-year-old female of Mill Springs, was charged with failure to appear, received a $1,000 secure bond. Brian Matthew Robinson, 34-year-old male of Ruston, was charged with habitual misdemeanor assault and received a $25,000 secure bond. Braxton Kelly Atkins, 19-year-old male of Ellenboro, was charged with trafficking heroin, 3 counts probation violation, possession of Schedule 6 and drug paraphernalia, and received a $38,000 secure bond. Among our incidents, we had obtained property with false pretense on Top Avenue in Ellenboro. The victim advised that an acquaintance stated that they would clean the shotgun for the victim, but did not return it. Same was a 500 model Mossberg 12-gauge pump valued at $400. Believe that they intended on depriving her of her property in that instant. And Jim, that's what we had to report today.
Sure. What kind of update can you give us on the shooting over on Ferry Road?
Basically, deputies were called out a little after 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon to 1310 Ferry Road, lot number 2. When deputies responded, they located Christopher Fight in a vehicle there on Ferry Road. He had received a gunshot to his arm. He was transported to Cleveland Regional. They continued their investigation, found that the residence at 1310 Ferry Road, Lot 2, was the residence of Zachary Waters. It appears that Christopher Fight had showed up to that residence and was an unwanted guest, forced his way into the house, reportedly by Waters and his father, who also lives there. An altercation occurred at some point. Waters was on the ground, located the firearm, reportedly shot a warning shot, and Mr. Fight continued toward him and then shot a second time, which ceased all assault. And at that time, Mr. Fight did flee, and we located him in his vehicle. So we will be taking this information to the district attorney's office and see if the district attorney believes there was any charges needed, or if it was a case of self-defense, or if there'll be any kind of a breaking in or type charges as well, or forcible entry charges. So we'll be taking that hopefully this week. Mr. Fight was taken to Cleveland Regional and State overnight on Sunday night, and reportedly had a procedure scheduled yesterday. I've not got an update on his condition at that point, though.
The draft after he missed 3 games and practice time in December with a foot injury. North Carolina has added a non-conference game to its schedule for tomorrow against Northeastern after 3 of its ACC home games were postponed because of COVID. This is NCN Sports.
America means innovation, where new ideas are born, tested, and brought to the world.
America means determination, the grit, hustle, and hard work that built our country.
America means opportunity, where tomorrow has a chance to be better than today.
And America means home.
We've weathered a lot, and we've been told how divided we are.
But we're coming through it together.
By pushing forward together, we can thrive.
That starts by rebuilding America's infrastructure, our power generation, food production, manufacturing, and transportation networks.
Which means hundreds of thousands of new jobs across the country.
It's an investment in our communities.
In roads, bridges, cleaner air and water.
It's an investment in economic freedom and the promise of success for generations to come.
It's an investment in us.
It's going to take hard work, but we can get there.
And we'll be stronger for it. Because America means business. Let's get America back to work.
Let's invest in North Carolina.
Let's invest in us. Learn more at let'sinvestinus.com. Paid for by Citizens for Responsible Energy Solutions Forum.
Top 25 college hoops last night. Number 16 Florida State upset 7th-ranked Virginia, and they did it convincingly, 81-60 the final. 2nd-ranked Baylor and number 13 West Virginia were on the schedule, but that game was postponed. Gonzaga and Baylor, meanwhile, lead an unchanged quartet atop the AP men's college basketball poll, while Kansas has returned to the rankings at number 23. The Bulldogs are 1, the Bears 2. Michigan, Ohio State, and Illinois round out the top 5. Boston College fired basketball coach Jim Christian with 3 weeks left in his 7th season. The team is just 3-13 this year, and they've struggled to fill out a lineup as COVID-19 protocols have chipped away at the roster. Assistant Scott Spinelli will serve as the interim coach for the rest of the season. Josh Zach, NCN Sports.
Finally, we are going to see breaks in the clouds for this afternoon and allow us to see sunshine, but we just have to get past a few areas of early patchy fog and clouds. Those are going to clear out quickly for today, and highs will head into the upper 40s and mid-50s. Overnight, look for temperatures in the mid-20s. Tomorrow will be slightly cooler with highs in the low to mid-40s by the afternoon. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
41 degrees and cloudy here in the foothills. Leading Information Center, 41 degrees, according to Peter, the meter reader. And we're happy to have you staying with us throughout this time period. And 9:05 this morning is My Great America with Jim and Butch. Hey, let's, for a couple of minutes here, we want to have a little side note here. But I did want to mention this, and then I got a couple of things from my email bag I want to share with you. Many of you have, I bet you took a poll, those of you who are able to leave the home, have been to Cracker Barrel. Cracker Barrel restaurants, long considered a place for families to get together over a wholesome meal in a rustic environment and with an attached gift shop filled with old-timey knickknacks and memorabilia. It's no wonder that it's become a source of leftist ire. They don't like things like that to make us happy. What is the cause of their anger, you may ask? Well, it seems that the woke crowds has decided the name Cracker Barrel reeks of racism. I promise you, folks, I do not make this stuff up. According to tweeted allegations, the name comes from the slang term cracker, which is what blacks called slave owners who cracked a whip. In fact, the Twitterverse is now claiming the R and the K in Cracker Barrel in the name looks like a whip. Now, how many of you drive by Cracker Barrel and stop in and look up and say, oh, goodness, that name looks like a... How silly is that stuff? What the SJW failed to consider is the origin story of the company's own website. The founder, Dan Evans, explains that the name comes from a staple of old country stores that he visited in his childhood. At that time, barrels were used to transport crackers. People who visited the store would often stand around these barrels chatting. Thus the name and the logo, which shows an older gentleman leaning on one of those cracker barrels, relaxed and waiting to chat. They're picking on anything, folks. The founder said the logo of Cracker Barrel store does not depict and has never predicted a whip. The part of the logo being referenced in social media posts is a flourish, which is used in the calligraphy of the logos of many brands. Cracker Barrel rejects racism and discrimination in any form. When associations are made between our company and these ideas, it's deeply unsettling because it contrasts so sharply with our values and our team's work to create a culture of hospitality that's welcoming, respectful, and inclusive to everyone who walks through our doors. So this woke crowd, these folks that are against everything and the counseling, they're about to lose any credibility if they had any at all. In addition to maligning the name of the store, the cancel culture has taken offense at the food served by the chain, Cracker Barrel. Apparently it's white food. What these nitwits fail to realize is that many of the items on a Cracker Barrel menu, such as collard greens, biscuits, and grits, were Southern country staples that are also eaten in many black homes throughout the South. So this woke crowd, whoever they are, losing a whole lot of credibility, if they had any at all, about everything offending them. A bunch of crybabies and whiners out there. Oh, it offends me. Let's change that name. Well, get a life, folks. Get a life. And go eat at Cracker Barrel whenever you chance. Oh, love Cracker Barrel. Love Cracker Barrel. All right, let's see. One of you sent this to me. Remember on November the 7th, 1983, that the May 19th Communist Organization detonated a bomb in the Senate in an attempt to kill Republicans? Susan Rosenberg was arrested for this. She was pardoned by Clinton. You know who she is, what she's doing now? She is now an administrator for Black Lives Matters and now does fundraising and administrative work for BLM. So I guess bombing the U.S. Capitol to kill Republicans is different. I've heard new reports all weekend long about how the riots in January was the worst day in American history. What should we call the bombing the U.S. Capitol? Chopped liver? Let's get our priorities straight and not be so hypocritical. Here's another one from my email bag. We don't do my email bag much because of so many other things to discuss, but this was, I thought, one of you sent this to me. In church last Sunday, I heard a sweet elderly lady in a nearby pew saying a prayer. She was so innocent and sincere that I just had to share it with you. Dear lady was praying, Dear Lord, this last year has been very tough. You have taken my favorite actors, Sean Connery, Kirk Douglas, Dinah Rigg. You've taken my favorite television host, Alex Trebek, Carl Reiner from your show of shows, my favorite singer from the 50s, Little Richard, even Charlie Daniels and Kenny Rogers, my two favorite country western singers. And from sports, you took Gail Sayers and my favorite basketball player, Kobe Bryant. I just wanted you to know that my favorite politicians are Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, and Adam Schiff and Chuck Schumer. Thank you, Father. I thought that was pretty funny. Got to poke a little fun once in a while, right? Speaking of humor, and we were, White House humor, Monday, of course, was President's Day, and we didn't get around to this yesterday, but White House humor, there's been a lot of it in the White House, and some legitimate humor. I don't know if they're laughing at all up there now. I mean, it seemed like they're complaining about everything, but there has been some really humor in the White House. Confession is good for the soul, so it's said. For the good of my soul, I'll confess to a bias. After years of studying the health benefits of humor and laughter, Dan Mitchum is writing, he says, I've nurtured a bias against those who won't laugh at themselves. Here's an unlikely couple who may have shared the same bias. To laugh is proper to the man. Men who never laugh are as dead bodies, which, if you prick them, do not bleed. Ethel Barrymore said, you grow up the day you have your first real laugh at yourself. It's good to poke a little fun at yourself. Dale Carnegie, in his writing, said, poke a little fun at yourself. Norman Vincent Peale wrote, poke a little fun at yourself. Have fun at your own expense. If you don't have anything to look at, have anything to laugh at, go look in the mirror every morning. That's what I do. I laugh at myself every morning. President's Day is upon us, and except for a few random sagas of humor, the Trump presidency provided a dearth of mirth. Fortunately, some previous White House occupants were quite generous. Here's some of the humor from some of the earlier presidents. Abraham Lincoln said politicians are accused of changing their positions on various issues. During the Lincoln-Douglas debates, Douglas called Lincoln a two-faced man. Lincoln responded, I'll leave it to my audience. If I had another face to wear, do you think I would wear this one? William T. Sherman, never a president, but in 1884, the Republicans really wanted him to run. Unfortunately for them, he really didn't want to be president. His memorable declaration has followed him through history. If nominated, I will not run. If elected, I will not serve. Cal Coolidge, noted for being a man of very few words, was approached by a White House tourist. She said excitedly, Mr. President, I bet my husband I could make you say 3 words. Noddingly politely, Cal replied, you lose. Eleanor Roosevelt. She said, I once had a rose named after me, and I was very flattered, but I was not pleased with the description in the catalog. No good in a bed, but fine up against the wall. Eleanor Roosevelt. Harry Truman. The Trumans were showing some White House guests around the Rose Garden, and the lady commented on the rich, vibrant colors of the roses. Truman responded, it's the manure. You've got to have good manure. When the president was out of earshot, she said to Bess, if I may, Mrs. Truman, don't you think it would be more genteel if the president said fertilizer? Bess smiled and said, it's taken me years to get him to say manure. John F. Kennedy. Well, JFK was criticized for appointing his brother as Attorney General. Bobby was only 36 at the time. Some critics even called him inexperienced and unqualified. JFK responded, I can't see that it's wrong to give him a little legal experience before he goes out to practice law. Ronald Reagan was full of humor. He loved to laugh and loved to tell jokes. Reagan was being rolled into surgery after the attempt on his life. Hospital representative said, Mr. President, I want you to know that you're in the hands of one of the finest surgeons in the country. Reagan responded, I just hope he's a good Republican. Bill Clinton, on a pre-campaign swing back in 1995, said, look, half the time when I see the evening news, I wouldn't be for me either, end quote. I don't know too many people had a laughing spell when Obama was president, but apparently he had one. At a 2013 White House Correspondents' Dinner, Barack Obama said, I'm also hard at work on plans for the Obama Library, and some have suggested that we put it in my birthplace, but I'd rather keep it in the United States. Did anybody not see that joke coming, he says. We must take our jobs, our responsibilities, and so forth seriously. On the other hand, we should take ourselves with a grain of salt and a healthy dollop of humor. Helping professionals in the 70s and 80s are no doubt familiar with Dr. Love, the late Leo Buscaglia. We'll give Leo the last final word on that. Leo said, a sense of humor helps us to forget, if even for a moment, our often inflated sense of seriousness and propriety. It is a declaration of our superiority over the woes and calamities that may befall us. It's okay to laugh, folks. Not at somebody, but with somebody. It's okay to laugh. Have a little humor once in a while. It's good for our heart. Even the scripture talks about having a good humor. Yes, it do. Yes, it do. let's see, where am I going from right here? 41 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock. 9:05 this morning is My Great America with Jim and Butch. Let's see what we got here. We got a couple of more things. Oh, by the way, did any of you happen to see the cheering line of Trump motorcade driving past the president's house last night, or maybe it's the day of the vote? For those who think it's time to write off former President Donald Trump as a political has-been, the crowd on hand in southern Florida to greet his motorcade on President's Day, that was yesterday, should disabuse them of that notion. Supporters of the former president gathered in West Palm Beach, Florida on Monday, just a few miles east of Trump's residence at the Mar-a-Lago resort. The rally was reportedly organized to mark President's Day and to celebrate Trump's acquittal Saturday in his Senate impeachment trial. Well, Trump's former Deputy Chief of Staff, Don Scavino, posted video on Tuesday on Twitter on the movement relating that Trump was returning from a golf outing. He says, "This is unbelievable. 45 returns to Mar-a-Lago this afternoon after an awesome day out on the links to this." And they were miles and miles of traffic. But people had the Trump parade, as happened here and other places across the country. In another video posted by WPEC-TV, the 45th president could be seen waving to the crowd as the NC Hammer song, "You Can't Touch This," plays in the background, and the crowd chants, "USA, USA, USA." A woman can be heard yelling, "That's my president." The Senate acquitted Trump on Saturday, as you know, in his second impeachment trial in roughly a year by a vote of 57 to 43, giving him a 10-senator margin to spare. Some of Trump's supporters proclaimed afterward that he enjoyed the distinction, thanks to congressional Democrats, of being the most acquitted president ever. Trump released a statement celebrating the verdict on our historic, patriotic, and beautiful movement to make America great again has only just begun. If you get a chance to see that video of that crowd that was patrolling and marching and driving and blowing horns, and the motorcycles were there driving back and forth in front of Mar-a-Lago, celebrating the acquittal of President Trump, and celebrated President's Day, the fact that he's still very favored by thousands and thousands of people across America. It's 8:43, and I'll be back in just a moment.
Tax time is here again. I know, it's not your favorite. But at H&R Block, tax time is our favorite time of year. It's when our tax pros get to do what they love the most, help people. By getting to know you, they can make sure your return gets done right. It's not just about numbers, boxes, and forms. It's about personal care, so you get every credit and deduction you deserve. And with an average of 10 years experience, our tax pros get your taxes done right. Just one of the many ways Block has your back.
And H&R Block has 3 locations to serve you: 197 Railroad Avenue in Rutherford, 1636 College Avenue, Suite 135 in Spindale, and at 542 Oak Street in Forest City.
I'm at this cave to show how Multiply the Cash can multiply your winnings. Up to 100 times. Whoa, just imagine winning all of that cash. So you can have more of what you love. Sweet. Multiply the Cash from the North Carolina Education Lottery is everything you love multiplied. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.03 to 4.84. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Well, Joe Biden's administration has declared a bold new war on terror. One focused not on conventional terror targets like ISIS or Al-Qaeda, but instead on homegrown violent extremists within the U.S. However, this new crusade is not aimed at known ultra-violent anarchist or Marxist revolutionary groups like Antifa and Black Lives Matters, which spent much of 2020 rioting and burning and vandalizing and looting and assaulting and killing throughout America. Instead, the new war on terror is focused squarely on the millions of American citizens who supported Donald Trump's reelection, attended his rallies, exercised their constitutional rights, believed the election was rife with fraud, and are critical of the radical policies being implemented rapid fire by the new Biden-Harris administration. That's right. The Comprehensive Threat Assessment of Domestic Violent Extremism Biden ordered shortly after being sworn in as president, conducted jointly by the FBI, DHS, and the Director of National Intelligence, targets Trump conservatives who are lumped in with the January 6 rioters and even likened to terror groups like Al-Qaeda. Consider this. General Stanley McChrystal, the former commander of American troops in Afghanistan and who supported Biden for president, sees terrifying parallels between the birth of Al-Qaeda and the people who swarmed the Capitol buildings in January. I did see a similar dynamic in the evolution of Al-Qaeda in Iraq, where a whole generation of angry Arab youth with very poor prospects followed a powerful leader who promised to take them back in time to a better place, and he led them to embrace an ideology that justified that violence. This is now happening in America, he said. He's a Biden supporter. Robert Grenier, former director of the CIA's counterterrorism program, compared Donald Trump to Saddam Hussein and his supporters to Al-Qaeda and the Taliban, adding, quote, "We may be witnessing the dawn of a sustained wave of violent insurgencies within our own country, perpetrated by our own countrymen." Meanwhile, Biden's new Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, insisted during his confirmation hearing that the military must rid itself of racists and extremists in its ranks. To that end, Austin's first black defense tactic was to come down on any conservative that might be in the way. And they're looking to do that kind of thing as quickly as possible. Now they're already, Biden has already said that they're coming up with a stronger anti-gun regulation, not necessarily to take them away from you, but make it awful hard for you to get one, awful hard for you to register one, awful hard to buy the ammunition that you need. They're coming down that way and curbing some of the conservative platforms, like taking folks off Twitter, taking folks off Facebook because they happen to be conservative and talking conservative talk. That's not free America, folks. That's not free America. Well, let me see if I get out of here and make room for Butch back here in the Blue Room for My Great America with Jim and Butch coming up. There are some great things about America, and we'll talk to you about those in just a few.
Oh, yes, I'm the great
Water. ABC's Jim Ryan's in Dallas.
An outside temperature below freezing wouldn't be an issue if the inside temperature weren't headed lower because the power is out.
The temperature being so low, it gets so cold in my house so fast.
And yet the operator of the Texas power grid insists
the system is working,
says the Electric Reliability Council of Texas.
What you have is an extraordinary event.
City and county leaders here are demanding answers, and state lawmakers plan to take another look at Texas' deregulated energy market. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
ABC's Will Reeve has more from Omaha, where traveling is treacherous because of icy roads.
20 degrees below zero, negative 38 wind chill. This is the type of cold that penetrates your clothes, your skin, your bones, and burrows in your soul.
As if that wasn't enough, tornadoes roared through coastal North Carolina overnight. 3 were killed in a twister south of Wilmington. Coronavirus cases, hospitalizations, and deaths are all on a downward trajectory. Former acting CDC Director Dr. Richard Besser.
I am clearly cautiously optimistic. When you see a curve like this, it's going down and steadily down, and a ramping up of vaccination across the country and in many places around the world, you have to be hopeful that we are on the path to this being over.
He and other public health experts warn, however, that easing up now on the mask and social distancing mandates could cause an increase once again. President Biden travels to Milwaukee tonight. Weather permitting, he will be at the Pabst Theater talking up his $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill. On Thursday, the president will tour a Pfizer plant in Michigan where they're manufacturing COVID vaccines. A lot of those vaccine sites closed this week because of the weather. You're listening to ABC News.
Are you more than $10,000 in debt? Feel like you are on a never-ending treadmill, staying in one place and never getting ahead? You feel like there is no way out and you're just robbing Peter to pay Paul? Don't let the banks bully you. There are programs in place to help you get free of your debt, and you pay only a fraction of what you owe. The program at Total Financial Freedom can help you get debt-free in months rather than decades. Get off the debt treadmill and stop the endless cycle. Get free of credit card debt, timeshares, signature loans, and even internet loans. Call now at 800-533-6605 to see if you can qualify with no obligation and how you can receive a free book written by our CEO, the Debt Dietitian. For over a decade, Total Financial Freedom has helped thousands. They're A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, too. Start saving money now and avoid bankruptcy. Your debt can be settled for a mere fraction of what you owe. Call Total Financial now at 800-533-6605. That's 800-533-6605.
Back into schools as soon as today for a lot of kids in Los Angeles.
Effective immediately, elementary schools here in L.A. County that have submitted their COVID safety plans can reopen for the first time in almost a year. L.A. County making the announcement that COVID cases in the county have dropped low enough that schools can immediately reopen. Masks and social distancing required. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Israel is about to hit a COVID vaccination milestone.
Israel's COVID-19 vaccination campaign set to top 4 million. That means a whopping 44% of Israelis have taken at least the first Pfizer-BioNTech shot, and 25% are fully inoculated. Next Sunday, malls, stores, and places of worship and most schools will reopen. But to incentivize vaccination, Israel plans to bar citizens from entering hotels, gyms, swimming pools, sporting and cultural events, even some restaurants, if they don't have a government-issued barcode proving inoculation. Jordana Miller, ABC News, Jerusalem.
Parler, the Twitter alternative booted from the internet after it was linked to posts inciting violence, is back up and running. It found a new company to host its service after Amazon dropped it. And Bitcoin's rocket ride continues. The price of one hitting new highs today, topping $50,000. A year ago, it was less than $10,000. This is ABC News.
Ready to create your own income with your own home-based business where there's no such thing as getting laid off? If a billionaire entrepreneur spent 5 years and $20 million searching for the next big trend, wouldn't you want to know what he found? If you're serious about making money from home without having to leave home, then write this down. www.goherenext.com. You decide your income. Get the facts now. GoHereNext.com.
I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
This is Gilbert. If you owe the IRS past due taxes, don't call those toll-free national numbers. Local, affordable help is right here in Rutherford County. Stop garnishments, levies, and liens. Call Gilbert Carmona at 828-289-9300. All initial consultations are free. Call Gilbert, 828-289-9300.
Finally, we are going to see breaks in the clouds for this afternoon and allow us to see sunshine, but we just have to get past a few areas of early patchy fog and clouds. Those are going to clear out quickly for today, and highs will head into the upper 40s and mid 50s. Overnight, look for temperatures in the mid 20s. Tomorrow will be slightly cooler with highs in the low to mid 40s by the afternoon. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
It's time now for My Great America with Jim and Butch, a conversation about positive things about this great country. And now here are Jim and Butch.
You know, I was just thinking, listen to that. There are a lot of positive, great things about America, and I'm glad we could talk about them.
You know what, Jim? I know that God's changing you, and here's how I know it. You were just in the middle of a churning river talking about what's going on there with everything political, and I was quietly in my heart saying, how are we going to start the broadcast this morning? And there, you had the impulse to put a landmark, a stake in the ground, and say, you know what, there are things that we can acknowledge. God's goodness and His grace. He is never changing. He is on the throne. He is not surprised. The living God is not surprised by anything that's taking place. And you know what, I keep telling people, starting with myself, it's really important for us to tend our own hearts. You know, we can make comments about the gardens of everybody else's lives, but you know what, we better not do that unless we're tending to the garden of our own hearts. So this morning, God was pretty severely dealing with me. Butch, what are the things in your heart that need to change? And before you start making comments or insights about everyone else that's out there, make sure that the garden of your heart is being tended and you're not letting the weeds of despair, discouragement, anger, bitterness, deception, any of those weeds come up in your garden. So I was doing some plucking early this morning, Jim, and before we came in here, I said to my son, by the way, this is My Great America with Jim and Butch. We've been doing this for some months now, and I get the opportunity to come in here and see my sweater-clad friend with all, you must have a closet full of great sweaters. You got sweater vests that...
Well, at 4:30 in the morning, it's kind of cool outside.
Well, it's cool. It's cool outside, and a lot of people don't realize this. If you drive by the road, Whiteside's Road here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you drive by here and you see the light on. You know, Jim is back here early in the morning. He's helping interpret what's happening in the marketplace, what's happening politically. And let me just tell you this: if this office is cold when he gets here, it is certainly warmed up by all of his rhetoric. By the time I get here, I usually come about 45 minutes early and just try to get my heart quieted a little bit and peer through the window, and I can have an idea of what his morning's been like based on how he's doing. So,
yeah. Sometimes it's boiling out smoke, right?
Well, sometimes I've told people before I do a carotid artery check on you. I peer in there and see, now is it out there and pulsating? You know, if it's pulsing, I know what kind of morning he's had. You know, we can thank God for small blessings. You know, in the spirit of Paul Harvey, of course, was that inimitable broadcaster. At one point, he had up to 24 million people a week that were listening to his broadcasts. And, you know, he used to love to tell stories, and people love stories. As a matter of fact, I was reading, this was quite interesting. There was a study that just came out, and it said that one recent study showed that there are two key ideas as it relates to human interactions. We like people who disclose information about themselves, and we like other people more when we disclose to them. So if we feel the freedom to open up our hearts and share, it means that we really trust and like the people. And Jim, from day one, I've always felt that way with you. So in the spirit of that, I'm going to disclose something. I did not take hold this morning. That's the way that we describe it at my church, Word of Faith Fellowship. We talk about you need to take hold. And taking hold means you need to get a hold of what God wants. Well, I could have inquired this morning in the spirit of John 5:30, Jesus, is there anything that I'm lacking before I head over to WCAB? And I didn't do that. I was rushed. I was trying to do three things at once. You know what that's like.
Oh, yes.
So I ran out the door, and I did not bring my reading glasses. And I got here and I started to look at my Bible and look at some of my notes, and I said, I've got a serious problem. So immediately, and that was because I didn't inquire. If I just uttered the simple prayer, Jesus, do I have everything before I get in the van and drive over there? But I didn't do that. And God cares about every detail of our lives. So here I am, you're on the air, and I'm saying to myself, what am I going to do? So I poked into Tracy's office, and for one split second, I thought, I'm going to have to wear these glasses. You can't see them real well, but...
Oh, that looks good. That would look good on you.
Oh, that would look purty. That would look real purty on me. So discretion is the better part of valor, and I said, Jesus, do I have time to run up to Food Lion? So I ran up to Food Lion. I got a pair of the $5.95 Foster Grant's everyday glasses, and now I can read, which is an important thing to be able to do, because I want to read a scripture as we start this morning.
Sure.
In Proverbs 15, starting in verse 32, the wicked is overthrown by his wrongdoing. The wicked is overthrown by his wrongdoing, but the righteous has hope and confidence and refuge with God even in death. Wisdom rests silently in the hearts of one who hears and understands, but what is in the heart of short-sighted fools is made known. You know, with all the things happening in Washington, there are no secrets. God's not unaware. Darkness will have to give way to the light. And this is the verse that I wanted us to talk about for a couple of minutes, Jim. In verse 34 of Proverbs 15, it says, righteousness, moral and spiritual integrity, and virtuous character exalts a nation, but sin is a disgrace to any people. And you know, before we get into the politics of Republicans and Democrats and a new political party and all of that, we need to ask one poignant question, which is, are we pursuing righteousness as a nation? What would you say, Jim?
That'll plague at your heart. That'll plague at your heart big time, because I think we go off on too many, as my dad used to say, rabbit trails, and talk about those things that are not important and relevant to what God's plan is for our nation. We want to do some sowing and axing of trees down, and maybe that may not be the tree we need to cut down.
Exactly, and what I'm learning more and more is that the devil, the evil one, because evil is real, the devil can have us think about these Washington things and national things and international things in a distraction from a very important and eternal question, which is what's going on in my heart. What's in my heart? And, you know, God made it very clear to me after I came here, Jim, through a set of circumstances I've described in my testimony. He made it very clear, Butch, I don't need anything from you except everything. I want the whole of your heart, your mind, your soul, as it says in Scripture. And so there's been a deconstruction and a reconstruction in my life that doesn't have God just putting spackle on the cracks on the wall that keep cracking. No, he has really made it clear to me, you know what, Butch, the foundational things in your life that are wrong need to change. Well, you know what, we have foundational things in our life as a nation that have got to change. And it's not just window dressing. It's not just repainting some rooms of our country. We have got to get back to, as you often say, first things first. And, you know, I still have people from my past life who are convinced they can lure me back to the dark side of the force. And they'll occasionally send me emails and even sometimes quote things that I've written from my past life and put it up in front of me and say, you wrote this. You wrote this, Butch. So I just keep going back to the things that are fundamental and seminal in Scripture, which is truth that you just cannot evade. And recently, somebody sent me a note and said, Butch, you wrote an article or co-authored an article. I don't go back and read what I used to write. Why would I do that? That's like taking an amputated limb and trying to reattach it to your body. I'm just not going to do that. That's the old Butch. And the new Butch has seen with eyes that have been made clear by an understanding that God is changing my life. So when he said to me, you know, Butch, you co-authored an article talking about how the founding fathers were secular. And he reminded me of the fact that I did. I wrote an article on that. But I've had to repent and confess that's not true. And people will ask me sometimes, Butch, you read the Founding Fathers, why do you do that? Because I want us to get back to how were we birthed as a nation. Listen to this. Our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other. Who said that? John Adams, our second president. God, who gave us life, gave us liberty. Can the liberties of a nation be secure when we have removed a conviction that these liberties are the gift of God? Indeed, I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just, that his justice cannot sleep forever. You know who said that? Thomas Jefferson, the author of America's Declaration of Independence. By the way, a little aside about Thomas Jefferson, he was very meticulous in his writing, and he was fuming and furious because there were 88 changes to his original draft. A little known fact, little draft of the Declaration of Independence. How about this? While we are zealously performing the duties of good citizens and soldiers, we certainly ought not to be inattentive to the higher values of our faith, to the distinguished character of a patriot. It should be our highest glory to add the more distinguished character of being a Christian. So before you talk about being a patriot, get your heart right with God. Who said that? General George Washington. Or, how about this? We have staked the whole future of American civilization not on the power of government. Not on the power of government. Far from it. We have staked the future of all of our political institutions upon the capacity of each and all of us to govern ourselves according to the 10 Commandments of God. James Madison, the primary author of the U.S. Constitution. And then finally, I have lived, sir, a long time, and the longer I live, the more convincing proof I see of this truth, that God governs the affairs of all men. And if a sparrow cannot fall to the ground without his notice, is it probable that an empire can rise without his aid? Benjamin Franklin. And so, I look back on my own deception. Jim, I was so deceived. I was in the murky waters of my own self-deception. I was creating apologetics for a secular nation. I was trying to help pastors understand why it was important to be inclusive with the LGBTQ community. I was trying to help people understand that a democratic form of government was the government of Jesus. The Democratic Party would have been the party of Jesus. Jim, I have had to repent of a lot. And if my life can change, if my life can be transformed in the way that God's transformed it, he can transform your life too. I'm a living, breathing, oozing with thankfulness example of God being able to step in and heal the leprous heart that I had.
That's why I like to hear you talk about that, because you've earned the right to talk about those kind of things that you've experienced and now have overcome, and now to where you are today. It's good to hear a sermon by somebody who's studied a sermon, but when you hear somebody talk about where you've been and where you've come from, it makes it even more authentic. Well,
and Jim, we are called, it says in Scripture, let the redeemed of the Lord say so. And I can remember, I grew up in a lot of false religion, but I'm grateful that I was memorizing Scripture and not the sayings of Chairman Mao. I'm grateful for that. But I remember so often that we were taught in Sunday school when I was younger that God's Word did have power. So I'm grateful for all the verses that I memorized. I read out of the Amplified now, and I memorized in the King James. So I've got to, I'm re-memorizing Scripture and really laying it to heart. But Jim, I'm finding more and more that the principle, one of the powerful principles that I learned at my church, Word of Faith Fellowship, is that you cannot give what you don't have. You can't give what you don't have. And all those years I was involved in God's business, I wasn't tending to the garden of my own heart. And so when there were people in need, I had an empathy to help them, but my tank was empty. They would drive up their, metaphorically speaking, their jalopy, needing help and encouragement in life, and they would come to the gas pump of my life, and with a lot of bluster, I would sometimes say, I'll fill you up. And I'd grab the hose and put it in there, only to have air. There was nothing there. And so these days, like for example, yesterday, I was at First Baptist Church. I thought to myself, This is quite the miracle. I'm at First Baptist Church. I'm having a great conversation with Pastor Tim Marsh. And, here's a guy who's a parishioner from Word of Faith Fellowship, and we're both there doing what? We're very focused on the needs of our county as it relates to at-risk youth. And so R.J. Aiken, young black man who's a dear friend, is there with a tutoring program, and there are now 4 churches in the county that are helping collaborate with Blue Ridge Hope and with R.J., and I thought to myself, we need to be about our Father's business. And in our private conversations, you and I don't agree on everything.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
Most everything we do, though.
Most everything we do, and the things that are most important about the need for our hearts to be regenerated through a life with Jesus, we do. And we were talking earlier about miracles. We can't talk in Scripture about the stones of remembrance. We have got to remember all those times that God has encountered our lives and has really rescued us, Jim, right? And it emboldens confidence, doesn't it?
Absolutely does. Early, there's a program that comes on early before I do, not Max Lucchini, but Eric McTaxis.
Yeah.
You know Eric McTaxis?
Yeah.
He occasionally does, I think he calls it Miracle Tuesdays or something, and he has a guest that talks about miracles that have been performed in their lives, and it's really awe-inspiring. And I know folks don't get up that early. It's a delayed show for us. It happens in the afternoon, I think, in New York, where it's broadcast live. But it's a delayed for us. He comes on like at 5 o'clock when I'm getting here. And I hear him talk about miracles and people there sharing the miracles in their lives. And it's really inspiring to hear where they've been and where they are now based on a miracle that happened in their life. And miracles still do happen.
They do happen, and people have heard me share the story, especially during COVID, with so many people that were on respirators. I remember the month that I was on a respirator in a hospital, St. Mary Corwin's Hospital in Pueblo, Colorado, where in a wandering place of my life, I got to a place where I had to be airlifted, and you've heard the story. I was not supposed to live. They were suctioning out the fluid that was collecting in my lungs, sometimes every 15 minutes. I was on a respirator. It was like I was drowning. It was horrible, and that was in the midst of one of the deepest and darkest spiritually places of my life. But God, in His mercy, Jim, allowed me to live so that I could get my heart right with Him. And it's improbable that I'm in this little county in western North Carolina, sitting across from someone who's become one of my dear and best friends, doing a little radio program. And you know what? Here's something I've never really confessed during this program. From the time I was young, I always wanted to do a little radio program. And you know what? God will give us the desires of our heart, but only when we give our lives to Him. Mm-hmm. And when we lay down all of our expectations, all of our desires, all of our fleshly aspirations. And so, we've been taught in our church that each and every day we need to seek the will of God. The devil's got a plan, God's got a plan, and we get to choose. As a nation, the devil has a plan, God's got a plan, and we get to choose. And it's not time for us to be faint-hearted, is it?
No, it's not. And that choice becomes difficult sometimes because we are so caught up in the pressures from around us, our social pressures and our friends who pressure us to make this decision. But it's tough to make the right choice a lot of times, a lot of days. It's not easy to stand up and do the right thing. Even though we know we can call on God at any time, but still that temptation is there and that thread is there to pull us away from the right thing. So we have to stay on our mark, stay on our guard, and stay prayed up.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why community is so important. The devil wants to get any of us, particularly leaders, wants to get them in isolation. And, I've mentioned this before. In Africa, in some of the tribal nations, when they train the young warriors to go out and hunt lions when they're adolescents, they teach them, you run to the roar. You don't run away from it. If you run away from the big cat's instincts are to pounce on you. And so you got to be careful that you are emboldened only with the power that God gives you. But we're taught as a church, we don't shirk, we don't bow, we don't bend, we don't break, as long as we know we are going into battle with the authority of God. So you need to run to the roar, and that's counterintuitive. I mean, we had a situation a while back at one of the Everything Must Go stores where they were going down through the Gaylord, and there was food in this Gaylord, and right at the bottom was a whole city of mice. and the mice are going everywhere, and you would have thought somebody had set off a thermonuclear weapon. Everybody's running in every direction, but God's not called us to be fearful. He's called us to be bold, but we got to make sure we're emboldened with the truth that He gives us, and truth is what really, in the end, sets us free. I was reading a story, Jim, that just inspired me to remember that if we trust God, that song, Trust and Obey, that was the first song that my mother, who was really the spiritual leader in our family, she taught all of us children. We had to sing it. And when we weren't trusting her and we weren't obeying, she'd have us sing it to her. So some of my earliest songs were, the disciplines were, okay, sing, trust, and obey. When you walk with the Lord in the light of His Word.
That's a good Southern Baptist hymn book. So.
I know. You know what? Tim Marsh and some others, when they hear me talk about the North American Mission Board, the International Mission Board, and especially when I know who Lottie Moon is.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. You don't that's not just something you read about. When you know about the Lottie Moon Fund. And then when you go a step further and go, and Lottie Moon giving was down 17% last year. When you know that, then they're saying, something's not quite right. He knows too much about Southern Baptists. But this is a great, inspiring story, and we're going to end with this. Stories told that in World War II, one of our bombers was returning from a very successful mission, Jim, and they ran out of gas. They had to make a forced landing on a Japanese-occupied island. Now, that was serious, and so the men began to tell a chaplain that was on the plane with them, "You've been telling us about Psalm 91, but this is your chance to prove it." They said he got really praying, and their first big miracle was that they actually were able to land on the beach of the island, and they weren't noticed by the Japanese. A bomber lands on the beach. Miracle number one. How could that happen? But the chaplain continued praying Psalm 91, and at about 2 a.m., Ruth says, they heard a new sound, and they discovered a large barge had washed up a bit on the beach, and the deck was covered with drums filled with high-octane gasoline. And they thought they were dreaming. They used their in-flight refueling hose, and they were able to take off down the beach runway. Now, a lot of the people who heard their story just didn't believe it, so they decided to look into it. What they found out later was that when the skipper of a U.S. tanker had found himself in a submarine-infested watered area, he ordered the gasoline cargo put on a barge to lessen the danger from a torpedo hit. And they were 600 miles from where that bomber was going to land. Well, in a few weeks, that barge had drifted the whole 600 miles, beached just 50 feet from the stranded bomber, and had gotten there 12 hours before the bomber landed.
That's a miracle.
For every single mountain in your life, for every single broken place in your life, for every despair about the nation under a Biden presidency and Kamala Harris as a vice president and everything swirling about that, for all of that despair, that discouragement, and darkness, lay hold, Jim, all of us need to lay hold to the bright, incandescent light of God's truth. We have been in dark places before as a nation. I can personally confess I've been in dark places as an individual, and I know that the light and the life and the growth and the encouragement and the inspiration and the promise that comes through the life of Jesus as we embrace Him personally can turn around an individual life and can turn around a nation. And so we are not going to give up. We're going to be like Admiral Farragut. I'm not going to use the word who said we're not going to care about the torpedoes. Full speed ahead. We're going to be like Teddy Roosevelt with the Rough Riders who did what? Doesn't matter. Bullets are flying by. We're going to go up the hill, and we're going to be arm in arm in lockstep together as a county, and we are going to make America even greater.
I like that.
With God's help in the days ahead.
Encouraging words, because hearing somebody give us that encouragement to move on through the darkness to the light is something we can reach out and hold on.
Exactly. And Jim, we're gonna do it together, and you and I are gonna model it together, and as people see it in us, they'll share it with others, and let's light that fire here in our county. And it's not a fire of our doing. It's the fire of God's goodness and grace and righteousness, which exalts a nation but sends a reproach to any people.
God bless America.
God bless America, Jim.
Thank you for joining us for My Great America with Jim and Butch. Join us each Tuesday and Thursday morning at 9:05 for this enlightening program on 100.9 FM and 590 AM. It's My Great America with Jim and Butch.
Finally, we are going to